as we enter a season filled with promise and transformation. Something extraordinary is unfolding, a revelation so profound it has the power to redefine everything you thought you knew about your purpose and destiny. Today, we uncover what has been hidden from you for so long, and the timing could not be more perfect. If you are here, it is no coincidence. This is your divine appointment. Take a moment to comment 77 below, declaring your readiness to embrace this life-changing truth. To those who have supported this mission, I extend my heartfelt thanks. Your generosity fuels this journey of faith and revelation. From the depths of my heart, thank you for believing in this vision and helping us share these messages of hope and empowerment with the world. Your support reminds us of the incredible strength found in community and shared purpose. Now, let me ask, what if the key to your divine inheritance has been hidden from you all along? Concealed beneath layers of secrecy and deception? Banking authorities have uncovered a shocking truth, a secret tied to your name. One that holds the potential to completely transform your life. Who kept this hidden from you? And why is it being revealed now? Stay with us, because what we are about to uncover is not just a story, it is your story. This is the moment when the veil of deception is lifted, and the blessings that were always meant for you are finally revealed. The answers you seek are just ahead, and they will lead you to a destiny that no one can take from you. Let us dive in and uncover the truth together. For you are among God's chosen ones. In the vast tapestry of life, there exists a truth that transcends time. One that beckons to those chosen by God, His divine ones, to step into a realm of promise and transformation. This is not a coincidence, nor is it by mere chance that you are here. It is a divine appointment, orchestrated by the Creator Himself, to bring to light the profound calling over your life. The world may seem like a place of chaos, yet within this seeming disorder lies a hidden order, a sacred plan unfolding for those who are willing to see beyond the veil. God's chosen ones are not ordinary. They are set apart, marked by a purpose so profound that its magnitude may feel overwhelming. Yet, in the midst of uncertainty and doubt, there is a divine assurance. This season of transformation is a testament to God's unwavering commitment to His promises. It is a time when what has been hidden is now being revealed, and the truths that have eluded you are coming into the light. These truths are not just for you to know, but for you to embrace, for they hold the keys to unlocking the destiny God has placed before you. To understand this calling, one must first recognize the signs of divine preparation, the trials you've endured, the barriers that seemed insurmountable, and the whispers of doubt that plagued your thoughts were not without purpose. Each moment of struggle has been a refining fire, shaping you into the vessel capable of carrying the blessings ordained for you. Just as gold is refined through heat, so too have you been prepared through the challenges of life. God does not choose without equipping, and His chosen are never left without His provision. Consider the profound truth in this: you are not here by accident. Your life, with all its complexities and nuances, is part of a divine narrative. Every step you've taken, even the missteps, has led you to this very moment. The Creator's hand has been guiding you, weaving together the threads of your existence into a masterpiece of purpose and destiny. As you stand on the precipice of revelation, you are being called to trust in His plan, to lean not on your own understanding, but to acknowledge Him in all your ways. The season of promise and transformation is not without its demands. It requires a heart of surrender, a willingness to let go of the fears and doubts that hinder your faith. God's chosen are those who dare to believe in the impossible, who cling to the promises of God even when the evidence seems contrary. This is not blind faith, but a faith rooted in the knowledge of who God is. He is faithful, unchanging, and His word is true. When He calls, He also provides the strength and courage needed to answer. Imagine the possibilities that lie ahead when you fully embrace this divine calling. The revelation being unveiled in your life is not just a personal blessing, it is a declaration of God's justice and love. It is a reminder that you were never abandoned, that the dreams God planted in your heart were not misplaced. There were seeds waiting for the right season to bloom. And that season is now. God's timing is perfect, and His ways are higher than ours. Trust that every delay, every setback, was part of His divine orchestration to prepare you for this very moment. God's chosen ones are called to rise above the noise of the world and to focus on His voice. His voice speaks of hope, purpose, and a future filled with abundance and peace. To hear His voice, you must quiet the doubts and fears that try to drown it out. This requires intentionality, a deliberate effort to seek Him in prayer, to meditate on His word, and to align your heart with His will. The journey of faith is not one of passivity but of active pursuit. As you walk into this season of transformation, remember that God's promises are not just for your benefit. They are meant to bless others through you. The blessings He bestows upon His chosen are tools to fulfill His greater purpose. They are a testament to His glory, a light that shines in the darkness, drawing others to His truth. Your life, transformed by His grace, becomes a beacon of hope for those who are lost and weary. This is the essence of being chosen, to reflect His love and to carry His message to a world in need. The revelation of God's plan is a sacred moment, one that demands both reverence and action. It is not enough to hear His call, you must respond with obedience and faith. The path ahead may not always be clear, but the assurance of His presence is all you need. He goes before you, making a way where there seems to be no way. Trust in His provision, for He is a God who fulfills His promises. This is your moment, your divine appointment. You have been called to rise, to step into the fullness of your purpose, and to embrace the destiny God has prepared for you. The season of promise and transformation is here, and it is yours to claim. Trust in the Lord, for He is faithful to complete the good work He has begun in you. The revelation of hidden truths is a profound moment for God's chosen ones. It is not merely an unveiling of material significance, but a divine awakening to the justice and restoration that has always been part of God's plan. When the hidden is revealed, it signifies that the time has come for His chosen to step into a new season of purpose, one marked by the fulfillment of promises long awaited. This is not a random occurrence, it is a deliberate act of God, orchestrated to align with His perfect timing. For years, perhaps even generations, these blessings have been concealed, not because they were unattainable, but because they were preserved for a specific moment in time. God's wisdom ensures that what is meant for His chosen will not be lost, no matter how deeply it is hidden. The uncovering of these divine treasures, both tangible and spiritual, is a declaration of God's sovereignty. It is a reminder that no power on earth can withhold what He has ordained. Imagine the magnitude of such a discovery. The blessings tied to your name are more than a mere accumulation of wealth or status. They are symbols of divine justice and restoration. They are emblems of God's unwavering commitment to His chosen ones, affirming that His promises are steadfast and His timing impeccable. When these blessings are revealed, they are not just for individual gain but serve as a testament to God's power and faithfulness. God's chosen ones are called to recognize that this revelation is both a gift and a responsibility. The unveiling of hidden blessings is an invitation to step into a higher calling. It is a moment to reflect on the purpose behind these gifts and how they align with God's greater plan. These blessings are not given for selfish gain, but to empower His chosen to bring light and hope into the world. They are tools for restoration, meant to heal, uplift, and inspire those around them. The concept of restoration is central to this revelation. For so long, life may have felt like an uphill battle, with dreams slipping through your fingers and opportunities seemingly out of reach. Yet, God's timing is perfect, and what He has ordained for His chosen can never be permanently taken away. The unveiling of these blessings is a reminder that every tear shed, every prayer whispered, and every moment of faith was not in vain. God's justice ensures that what was lost will be restored, and His chosen will walk in the fullness of their destiny. Consider the weight of this restoration. It is not just about returning what was taken, but elevating it to a level that reflects God's glory. The blessings being revealed are not ordinary, they are extraordinary, designed to exceed expectations and demonstrate the abundance of God's provision. This is a season where God's chosen are being called to rise above the limitations of the past and embrace the limitless possibilities of the future. As the veil of secrecy is lifted, the chosen are reminded of the trust God places in them. These blessings come with a responsibility to steward them wisely, using them to further His kingdom and glorify His name. It is a sacred trust, one that requires discernment, humility, and faith. The chosen must remain steadfast in their commitment to God's principles, recognizing that these blessings are not an end but a means to fulfill His divine purpose. The journey to this moment of revelation has not been easy. God's chosen ones have faced trials, endured betrayals, and overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Yet, through it all, they have remained steadfast in their faith, trusting in God's promises even when the path was unclear. This unwavering faith is now being rewarded as God's justice unfolds before their eyes. Reflect on the power of God's justice. It is not merely retributive but restorative, bringing balance to what was once out of alignment. Those who schemed to withhold blessings or sought to undermine God's chosen will see their plans come to nothing. God's light pierces through the darkest shadows, revealing truth and ensuring that His will is accomplished. The chosen are vindicated, not by their own strength, but by the power of God's hand. This revelation is also a call to unity among God's chosen. The blessings being unveiled are not meant to create division or envy, but to foster a spirit of community and shared purpose. God's chosen are stronger together, united by their faith and their commitment to His plan. They are called to support one another, to celebrate each other's victories, and to work together to bring God's light into the world. As this season of revelation unfolds, the chosen must remain vigilant, guarding their hearts and minds against doubt and fear. The enemy seeks to sow confusion and discord, but God's chosen are called to stand firm in their faith, trusting in His promises and His timing. They are reminded that the blessings being revealed are not just for their benefit, but for the glory of God and the fulfillment of His divine plan. This is a moment of profound significance, a turning point for God's chosen ones. The hidden has been revealed, the blessings have been unveiled, and the path forward is illuminated by God's light. It is a time to step boldly into the destiny God has prepared, to embrace the restoration and justice He has promised, and to fulfill the purpose for which they were chosen. God's chosen ones are often called to walk a path that seems far from ordinary. From the moment they are set apart, their journey becomes a testament to the transformative power of faith. The calling they carry is both a privilege and a profound responsibility, shaping their lives in ways they may not fully understand at first. This journey is marked not only by divine revelations, but also by the trials that prepare them for the weight of their purpose. Every step forward is guided by the hand of God, ensuring that they are never alone, even when the way seems uncertain. The whispers of God often come as a stirring in the heart, a pull towards something greater than oneself. For the chosen, this sense of calling is unmistakable, a persistent reminder of the destiny that awaits them. Yet, this calling is not without its challenges. The journey of the chosen is one of refinement, where obstacles become opportunities for growth and faith is tested in the crucible of life's difficulties. It is through these moments of struggle that God shapes His chosen into vessels capable of carrying out His will. Consider the story of David, who was anointed as king while still a shepherd boy. His anointing was a declaration of his destiny. Yet his journey to the throne was fraught with trials and hardships. David's time in the wilderness, fleeing from Saul and enduring betrayal, was not a deviation from God's plan but a preparation for it. In the same way, God's chosen ones today may find themselves in seasons that feel like wilderness, where the promises of God seem distant. Yet, these seasons are crucial for building the character and faith needed to step into their divine destiny. God's chosen are often misunderstood by those around them. Their calling sets them apart, making them different in ways that others may not comprehend. This distinction is not a cause for pride, but a reminder of the sacred responsibility they bear. Being chosen means walking in alignment with God's will, even when it goes against the grain of the world. It means trusting in His promises, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. The chosen are called to walk by faith, not by sight, leaning on God's understanding rather than their own. The trials faced by the chosen serve a greater purpose. They are not random or meaningless, but are divinely orchestrated to bring about growth and refinement. Just as Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace involved betrayal, imprisonment, and suffering, so too do the chosen experience seasons of difficulty. Yet, through it all, God's hand is at work, weaving together the strands of their lives into a tapestry of purpose and glory. The pain of the present is preparing them for the promises of the future. The calling of the chosen is not confined to personal blessings. It extends beyond the individual, impacting those around them and, often, the world at large. God's chosen are called to be vessels of His light, shining brightly in a world that desperately needs hope. Their lives, marked by faith and perseverance, serve as testimonies to the goodness and faithfulness of God. They are not just recipients of God's blessings, but conduits through which His love and grace flow to others. The path of the chosen is one of surrender. To fully step into their calling, they must let go of their own plans and submit to God's will. This surrender is not a loss but a gain, as it aligns them with the divine purpose for which they were created. In surrendering to God, the chosen discover a strength and peace that surpasses human understanding. They learn to rely not on their own abilities, but on the power of the one who called them. God's chosen ones are also equipped with a unique set of gifts and talents, tailored to the purpose He has for their lives. These gifts are not meant to be hidden, but to be used for His glory. The chosen are called to cultivate these gifts, to develop the skills and abilities that will enable them to fulfill their calling. This process requires diligence and discipline, as well as a deep trust in God's provision and guidance. The journey of the chosen is one of continual growth and transformation. It is not a static state, but a dynamic process of becoming. Each step forward brings them closer to the fullness of their purpose, revealing new depths of God's plan for their lives. Along the way, they are reminded of His faithfulness, His provision, and His unchanging love. The chosen are not defined by their struggles, but by the God who sustains them through every trial. In every season, God's chosen ones are called to remember who they are and whose they are. Their identity is rooted not in their achievements or circumstances, but in the one who chose them. They are His beloved, called by name, and set apart for a purpose greater than they could imagine. This identity is a source of strength and confidence, enabling them to face whatever lies ahead with courage and faith. As God's chosen ones walk their path, they are reminded that they are part of a greater story. Their journey is intertwined with the narratives of those who have gone before them and those who will come after. They are part of a legacy of faith, carrying forward the promises of God and paving the way for future generations. Each step they take is a testament to the faithfulness of the God who called them and a reminder that they are never alone. The journey of God's chosen ones is marked by a profound intertwining of faith and action. Faith, in its truest form, is not a passive belief, but an active trust that propels the chosen to move forward, even when the path is unclear. It is a dynamic force, one that compels them to rise above fear and uncertainty, to take bold steps in alignment with the divine purpose that God has placed upon their lives. This faith, rooted in God's promises, is the foundation upon which their actions are built, creating a life that is both purposeful and impactful. God's chosen ones are called to embody a faith that transforms not only their own lives, but the lives of those around them. This transformative faith is evident in the story of Abraham, who left everything familiar to follow God's command, not knowing where he was being led. His faith was not merely a private conviction, but a catalyst for action, a willingness to step into the unknown because he trusted in the faithfulness of God. In the same way, the chosen today are called to trust in the promises of God, even when the fulfillment of those promises seems distant. Action is the visible expression of faith, a tangible demonstration of trust in God's plan. For the chosen, this means taking steps that align with their divine calling, even when those steps defy logic or reason. It is the willingness to move forward, to seize opportunities, and to act in obedience to God's guidance. This action is not driven by human ambition, but by a deep desire to fulfill the purpose for which they were created. It is a response to God's call, a declaration that they are ready to partner with Him in His work. The balance between faith and action is one that God's chosen must continually navigate. Faith without action is stagnant, a belief that remains untested and unrealized. Similarly, action without faith can lead to striving in one's own strength, disconnected from the guidance and provision of God. The chosen are called to walk in harmony, where their faith fuels their actions and their actions reaffirm their faith. This balance is a reflection of their trust in God's sovereignty and their willingness to be vessels of His will. The power of this faith-filled action is magnified in the community of God's chosen. Together, they form a body that moves in unity, each member contributing their unique gifts and strengths to the collective purpose. The chosen are not called to walk alone, but to support and encourage one another, to share in each other's victories and burdens. This community is a testament to the power of faith in action, a living example of what it means to be God's hands and feet in the world. Obedience is a cornerstone of the chosen's journey, an essential aspect of aligning faith with action. Obedience requires listening for God's voice, discerning His will, and responding with a willing heart. It is not always easy, as it often calls for sacrifice and surrender. Yet, in obedience, the chosen find a deeper connection to God and a greater understanding of His purpose for their lives. Their willingness to obey, even when it costs them, is a reflection of their trust in God's goodness and faithfulness. The chosen are also called to be bold in their actions, to step out in faith with confidence and courage. This boldness is not born of arrogance, but of a profound trust in God's promises. It is the kind of boldness that David displayed when he faced Goliath, armed only with a sling and his unwavering faith in God. The chosen are reminded that their strength does not come from their own abilities, but from the one who has called them. This boldness enables them to face challenges with confidence, knowing that God is with them every step of the way. In every act of faith, the chosen are planting seeds for the future. Their obedience and trust in God's plan have a ripple effect, impacting not only their own lives, but also the lives of generations to come. This legacy of faith is a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of aligning faith with action. The chosen are stewards of this legacy, called to nurture and protect it, ensuring that it continues to bear fruit for God's glory. The challenges faced by the chosen often serve as opportunities for their faith to grow and their actions to be refined. Trials and obstacles are not meant to discourage, but to strengthen. revealing the depth of their trust in God. In these moments, the chosen learn to rely not on their own understanding but on the wisdom and guidance of God. Their faith becomes a beacon of hope, a light that shines brightly in the midst of darkness, pointing others to the source of their strength. God's chosen ones are a living testament to the power of faith in action. Their lives are a reflection of God's promises fulfilled, a demonstration of what is possible when faith is paired with obedience. They are called to be examples of what it means to walk in alignment with God's will, to live lives that are both purposeful and impactful. This calling is both a privilege and a responsibility, a sacred trust that requires continual reliance on God's grace and guidance. The journey of God's chosen is one of constant movement, a forward progression fueled by faith and marked by action. They are not defined by their limitations, but by their willingness to trust in God's unlimited power. As they step into the fullness of their calling, their lives become a powerful testimony to the faithfulness of God and the transformative power of aligning faith with action. In the lives of God's chosen ones, the reality of betrayal and hardship is not a sign of abandonment, but a confirmation of the refining process. These moments of pain and disappointment are intricately woven into the divine plan, serving as both a test and a preparation for the greater purpose that awaits. The chosen are often called to endure what seems unbearable. Yet through these trials, their faith is deepened, their character is shaped, and their trust in God's justice is reaffirmed. The experience of betrayal is one of the most challenging trials faced by God's chosen. It cuts deeply because it often comes from those closest to them, friends, family, or confidants who were trusted. This kind of wound mirrors the betrayal Jesus himself endured from Judas, one of his own disciples. Yet, even in betrayal, there is a divine purpose. The actions meant to harm the chosen become instruments of growth, strengthening their reliance on God and sharpening their discernment. It is through these experiences that they learn to place their trust not in man but in the unfailing promises of God. Challenges and obstacles are another common thread in the tapestry of the chosen's journey. These are not random occurrences but are divinely allowed to refine and prepare them. The story of Job serves as a powerful example of enduring trials while remaining steadfast in faith. Job's losses, his wealth, his health, and even his family were not the end of his story. Through his unwavering trust in God, he emerged from his trials with greater blessings and a deeper understanding of God's sovereignty. For the chosen, challenges are not roadblocks but stepping stones, leading them closer to the fulfillment of their calling. The chosen are reminded that God's justice is never delayed but is perfectly timed. Those who scheme against them or attempt to hinder their progress may seem victorious for a moment, but their plans ultimately unravel under the weight of God's justice. The biblical account of Joseph illustrates this truth vividly. Betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, Joseph's path was one of suffering and hardship. Yet, each trial brought him closer to the destiny God had prepared for him. In the end, Joseph's rise to power was not only a vindication of his faith, but a means of delivering countless others. His life is a testament to the fact that what is meant for harm can be used by God for good. For God's chosen, betrayal and challenges serve as opportunities to grow in forgiveness and grace. Forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of others, but about releasing the burden of bitterness and allowing God to heal the wounds of the heart. This act of forgiveness is not only liberating, but also a reflection of God's love and mercy. The chosen are called to embody this grace, extending it to those who have wronged them, just as Christ forgave those who crucified him. In doing so, they reflect the character of God and demonstrate the transformative power of his love. The path of the chosen is not a solitary one. Even in the midst of betrayal and hardship, God's presence is a constant source of comfort and strength. The chosen are never alone, for God walks with them through every trial, offering his guidance and assurance. Psalm 23 beautifully captures this truth. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This promise sustains the chosen, reminding them that they are surrounded by God's protection and grace. Moreover, the challenges faced by the chosen often reveal the true strength of their faith. It is in the darkest moments that their light shines the brightest, serving as a beacon of hope and encouragement to others. The chosen are called to be steadfast, to remain rooted in God's promises, and to trust that He is working all things together for their good. Their endurance in the face of adversity becomes a powerful testimony of God's faithfulness and power. The refining process is not without its rewards. For every betrayal endured and every challenge overcome, God's chosen are strengthened and prepared for the next season of their journey. The trials they face are not wasted, they are investments in their spiritual growth and maturity. These experiences equip them with the wisdom, compassion, and resilience needed to fulfill their divine purpose. Like gold refined in fire, the chosen emerge from their trials more radiant, more pure, and more aligned with God's will. God's chosen ones are also reminded that their journey is part of a larger narrative. Their trials and triumphs contribute to the unfolding of God's greater plan, a plan that extends beyond their individual lives. The lessons they learn, the faith they cultivate, and the victories they achieve have a ripple effect, impacting those around them and paving the way for future generations. This legacy of faith is a testament to the enduring power of God's promises and the steadfastness of His chosen. In every moment of betrayal and every season of challenge, God's chosen ones are being prepared for something greater. Their faith is being refined, their character is being shaped, and their trust in God is being deepened. Through it all, they are reminded that they are not defined by their trials, but by the God who sustains them. His justice, His love, and His faithfulness are the foundation upon which their lives are built, guiding them toward the fulfillment of their divine purpose. The lives of God's chosen ones are a continuous reflection of His grace, sovereignty, and unwavering commitment to His promises. In every step of their journey, they encounter moments that call for a deep reliance on His provision and guidance. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but one that requires the chosen to stand firm in their identity as children of God. Even when the world seeks to challenge and distract them, their faith becomes their anchor, holding them steady amid the storms of life. One of the defining characteristics of the chosen is their ability to perceive the hand of God in all things. They recognize that every moment, whether marked by joy or sorrow, is a piece of a larger divine plan. This awareness gives them the strength to endure seasons of waiting and uncertainty. Waiting is never easy, but for the chosen, it is a sacred time of preparation. It is in these moments of stillness that God often does His deepest work, shaping their hearts and aligning their spirits with His will. The process of waiting is not passive but active. It is a time for prayer, reflection, and seeking God's wisdom. The chosen are called to trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it seems delayed from a human perspective. The story of Sarah and Abraham illustrates this truth. Though they waited many years for the fulfillment of God's promise of a child, their faith endured. In the appointed time, Isaac was born, and God's promise was fulfilled. This account serves as a reminder that God's promises are never forgotten, and His timing is always purposeful. In the journey of the chosen, there is a constant call to focus on the eternal rather than the temporary. The distractions of the world can easily pull their attention away from God's purpose. Yet, the chosen are reminded that their true treasure is not found in earthly possessions or accolades, but in their relationship with God. This perspective shapes their priorities, guiding them to invest their time, energy, and resources into things that have eternal significance. They are called to live with an eternal mindset, knowing that their actions today have a lasting impact on their spiritual legacy. Community plays a vital role in the lives of God's chosen ones. While the journey is deeply personal, it is never meant to be walked alone. The chosen are part of a larger body, a fellowship of believers who support and encourage one another. This community is a source of strength, offering prayers, guidance, and accountability. The chosen are called to cultivate these relationships, to pour into others as they themselves are poured into. This mutual edification reflects the love of Christ and strengthens the collective mission of God's people. The chosen also understand that their journey is not without opposition. The enemy seeks to sow doubt, fear, and division, attempting to derail them from their calling. Yet, they are equipped with the armor of God, standing firm against these attacks. Their faith acts as a shield, extinguishing the fiery arrows of the enemy. They are reminded of the words of Ephesians 6 verse 12, which declare that the battle is not against flesh and blood but against spiritual forces of evil. This awareness keeps them vigilant, relying on God's strength to overcome every challenge. God's chosen ones are also called to be stewards of the gifts and resources He entrusts to them. These blessings are not meant to be hoarded but to be used for His glory and the benefit of others. The parable of the talents in Matthew 25 illustrates the importance of faithful stewardship. Those who use their gifts wisely are rewarded, while those who bury them out of fear or complacency miss out on the fullness of God's blessings. The chosen are encouraged to step out in faith, using what they have been given to make an impact for God's kingdom. As they walk their path, the chosen often experience moments of revelation, where God's plan becomes clear in ways it had not before. These moments are both humbling and empowering, reminding them of God's sovereignty and their role in His story. These revelations often come in the most unexpected ways, through prayer, scripture, or even the encouragement of others. They serve as confirmations that God is actively working in their lives, guiding them toward the fulfillment of His purpose. The chosen are also called to live lives of worship. Worship is not confined to songs or rituals, but is a lifestyle of gratitude and devotion to God. Every action, thought, and decision is an opportunity to glorify Him. This attitude of worship transforms their perspective, allowing them to see God's presence in every aspect of their lives. It reminds them that they are not their own, but belong to the one who called them and set them apart. Through every season, God's chosen ones are sustained by His promises. They are reminded that His word is unchanging and His love is unfailing. This assurance gives them the courage to face the unknown and the perseverance to keep moving forward. Their journey is not without difficulties, but it is marked by the presence of a faithful God who walks with them every step of the way. They are not defined by their struggles, but by their identity as God's chosen, set apart for His glory and His purpose. God's chosen ones carry a profound connection to the legacy of faith that has been passed down through generations. Their journey is not isolated but deeply rooted in the prayers, sacrifices, and obedience of those who came before them. This sacred lineage ties the chosen to a larger narrative of God's faithfulness, a story that spans time and is woven with threads of perseverance and hope. The lives of their ancestors, marked by unwavering trust in God's promises, serve as a foundation upon which the chosen now stand, called to build upon this legacy and continue the work of faith. The concept of legacy in the lives of the chosen is more than a historical reflection. It is a living and active responsibility. The faith of their ancestors was not simply for their own benefit, but was intended to pave the way for future generations. Each act of obedience, every prayer uttered, and every sacrifice made was a seed planted with the expectation of a divine harvest. God's chosen today are the fruit of those seeds, and their lives are a testament to the enduring power of faithfulness across generations. This inheritance is not limited to material blessings, but encompasses spiritual richness. wisdom, and resilience. The chosen are entrusted with the responsibility of stewarding this inheritance wisely, ensuring that the sacrifices of those who came before them are honored and that their efforts are not in vain. Psalm 145 verse 4 beautifully captures this truth. One generation commends your works to another, they tell of your mighty acts. This verse underscores the responsibility of passing on the knowledge of God's works and His faithfulness to those who will follow, in honoring their spiritual heritage. God's chosen ones are reminded of the power of prayer. The prayers of past generations often serve as the unseen foundation for the breakthroughs and blessings experienced today. These prayers, offered in faith and often through tears, demonstrate the unwavering belief that God's promises would be fulfilled, even if not within the lifetime of the one praying. The chosen are called to carry forward this mantle of intercession, lifting up prayers that will shape the lives of future generations and align with God's eternal purposes. The connection between legacy and divine purpose is also evident in the way the chosen are equipped for their calling. The unique gifts, talents, and opportunities they possess are not random but are part of the inheritance passed down through their lineage. Just as God prepared David to lead by first placing him as a shepherd, the chosen are often shaped through the experiences and wisdom of those who came before them. These influences form a foundation of strength and character, enabling them to step confidently into their divine assignments. The idea of legacy also extends to the challenges and hardships faced by previous generations. These struggles, though difficult, were not without purpose. They served as refining fires, shaping the faith and resilience of those who endured them. For the chosen, these stories of perseverance and triumph become a source of inspiration and a reminder that God's faithfulness transcends time. The challenges faced today are part of the same narrative, a continuation of God's unfolding plan to bring restoration and hope to His people. God's chosen ones are called to honor the legacy they have received by living lives that reflect the values and principles of their faith. This involves a commitment to truth, integrity, and a deep reliance on God. It also means recognizing the weight of their role in God's larger story. They are not only beneficiaries of their ancestors' faith, but are also stewards of the future, tasked with ensuring that the blessings and lessons of the past are carried forward. The chosen are also reminded that their legacy is not confined to their biological lineage. The family of God is expansive, including all who are united by faith in Him. This spiritual family broadens the impact of their calling, allowing them to influence and inspire beyond their immediate circles. By living lives of faith and obedience, they become spiritual ancestors to others, planting seeds of hope and truth that will bear fruit in ways they may never see. This broader perspective on legacy highlights the interconnectedness of God's chosen ones. Their individual journeys are part of a collective movement, a tapestry of faith that spans continents and generations. The actions of one chosen individual can have ripple effects, influencing countless others and advancing God's kingdom in profound ways. This interconnectedness reinforces the importance of faithfulness, as each step taken in obedience contributes to the greater narrative of God's work in the world. As the chosen walk in their divine calling, they are encouraged to look to the examples of faith that have come before them. These stories of courage, perseverance, and trust in God serve as guideposts, illuminating the path forward. They are reminders that the God who was faithful then is the same God who walks with them now. This continuity of faith is a source of strength, inspiring the chosen to press on, knowing that their journey is part of something far greater than themselves. God's chosen ones are not only recipients of a rich legacy but are also contributors to it. Their lives are a bridge between the past and the future, carrying forward the promises of God while preparing the way for what is yet to come. This sacred responsibility calls them to live with purpose, to honor the sacrifices of those who came before, and to embrace the opportunities to impact future generations. In doing so, they fulfill their role in the divine narrative, becoming a living testament to the faithfulness of God across time. The path of God's chosen ones is one of transformation and leadership, a journey that calls them to rise above limitations and step into the roles for which they were created. These individuals are not only called to experience personal renewal, but to lead others toward the same transformative power that God offers. Their lives become living testimonies of His faithfulness, and through their example, they inspire others to seek Him and trust in His promises. This call to leadership is not about power or status, but about servanthood, rooted in humility and guided by the principles of God's kingdom. Transformation begins with a recognition of God's hand at work. The chosen are often brought through seasons of difficulty and refinement, which serve to strip away the distractions and hindrances that prevent them from fully embracing their calling. This process is not meant to diminish, but to prepare them for the weight of their divine purpose. Just as a potter shapes clay with intention, God molds His chosen into vessels capable of carrying out His will. Each trial and triumph becomes a tool in His hands, shaping them into leaders who reflect His character and His glory. Leadership for God's chosen ones is inherently tied to their willingness to surrender. True leaders in God's kingdom do not rely on their own strength or wisdom, but lean wholly on His guidance. They understand that their authority comes from God alone, and their actions are directed by His word. This dependence on God is both a source of strength and a safeguard against pride, keeping their focus on serving rather than being served. The chosen are called to lead with compassion, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that their influence can shape the lives of many. The mantle of leadership often brings challenges, as those who step into their divine calling are met with resistance from the world and spiritual opposition. Yet, God equips His chosen with everything they need to overcome these obstacles. The story of Esther illustrates this beautifully. Placed in a position of influence for such a time as this, Esther 4 verse 14. Esther's courage and obedience not only saved her people, but also demonstrated the power of God working through His chosen. Similarly, today's chosen are positioned strategically by God, whether in their families, communities, or workplaces, to bring His light into places of darkness. One of the key aspects of leadership among the chosen is the ability to inspire and uplift others. This is not done through words alone, but through actions that reflect God's love and truth. The chosen are called to be examples of faith in action, demonstrating what it means to trust God in every circumstance. Their lives become a beacon of hope for those who feel lost or discouraged, showing that transformation is possible through God's grace. By living out their faith with authenticity and conviction, they create ripples of encouragement that extend far beyond their immediate circles. The chosen also recognize that leadership is not about elevating themselves, but about pointing others to God. Their role is to guide, support, and empower others to discover their own God-given potential. This requires humility and a servant's heart, as they prioritize the needs of others above their own. Jesus Himself set the ultimate example of servant leadership, washing the feet of His disciples and teaching that greatness in God's kingdom is found in serving others. In following His example, the chosen embody the principles of love, selflessness, and devotion that define true leadership. Another essential component of leadership among God's chosen is the ability to discern His voice. In a world filled with noise and competing agendas, the chosen must cultivate a deep connection with God through prayer and meditation on His Word. This spiritual discipline enables them to hear His guidance clearly and to act in accordance with His will. Discernment is a critical skill, allowing them to navigate challenges with wisdom and to make decisions that honor God and benefit those they lead. As leaders, the chosen are entrusted with stewarding not only their own gifts and resources, but also the influence they have been given. This stewardship extends to mentoring and equipping others, ensuring that the legacy of faith continues to grow and thrive. The chosen understand that their leadership is not about building their own platforms, but about expanding God's kingdom. By investing in others, they multiply the impact of their calling and create a lasting legacy that honors God. The transformation that God's chosen ones undergo is not limited to their personal lives, but extends outward, creating a ripple effect that touches countless others. Their leadership becomes a catalyst for change, inspiring communities to align with God's purposes and values. This impact is not confined to grand gestures or public acts, but is often found in the quiet, consistent example of a life lived faithfully, whether through acts of kindness, words of encouragement, or unwavering integrity. The chosen leave an indelible mark on those around them. God's chosen ones are leaders not because of their own qualifications, but because of God's call on their lives. They are equipped, empowered, and sustained by Him, enabling them to fulfill their purpose with confidence and grace. Their leadership is a reflection of their transformation, a testament to what is possible when a life is fully surrendered to God. As they step into their roles, they carry with them the assurance that they are not alone. God is with them, guiding and strengthening them every step of the way. The journey of transformation and leadership for God's chosen ones is one of profound impact. Through their faith, obedience, and commitment to serving others, they become vessels of God's love and power in the world. Their lives are a testimony to His ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, and their leadership paves the way for others to experience the same. In every act of service, every decision made in faith, and every step taken in obedience, the chosen reflect the heart of their Creator, fulfilling their divine calling to lead and inspire. The journey of God's chosen ones is marked by an undeniable call to action, a summons that resonates deeply within their souls. This call is not merely an invitation to observe, but a command to participate actively in the unfolding of God's divine plan. For those who are chosen, there is no room for passivity. Their role is to step boldly into the responsibilities and opportunities that God places before them, trusting in His provision and guidance every step of the way. The call to action often begins with a stirring in the heart, an unshakable conviction that there is more to life than what meets the eye. This sense of purpose is not born of ambition or personal desire, but is a response to God's voice. The chosen recognize that this call is sacred, a divine invitation to partner with God in His work on earth. It is a privilege that requires courage, faith, and an unwavering commitment to obedience. One of the defining characteristics of this call is its transformative nature. God does not call the chosen to remain as they are, but to grow, evolve, and step into the fullness of their potential. This transformation often involves a breaking away from old habits, mindsets, and limitations. The chosen must be willing to let go of what is comfortable or familiar, embracing the unknown with faith that God's plans are far greater than anything they could imagine. This process of growth is not without challenges, but it is through these challenges that the chosen are refined and prepared for their divine purpose. The call to action also requires boldness. God's chosen ones are not called to blend in or to follow the status quo. Instead, they are set apart to be leaders, visionaries, and agents of change. This often means standing firm in the face of opposition, choosing righteousness over convenience, and pursuing truth even when it is unpopular. The story of Daniel serves as a powerful example of this boldness. Despite the threat of persecution, Daniel remained faithful to God, refusing to compromise his beliefs. His courage not only preserved his life, but also brought glory to God, demonstrating the impact of unwavering faith. Obedience is another cornerstone of the chosen's call to action. To answer God's call fully, the chosen must prioritize His will above their own. This often involves difficult decisions, such as leaving behind personal ambitions or making sacrifices for the greater good. Abraham's willingness to leave his homeland and follow God's direction, even without knowing the destination, exemplifies this kind of obedience. His faith was rewarded, and his legacy as the father of many nations continues to inspire generations. The call to action is not without its rewards. For every step of faith taken, God's chosen experiences faithfulness in profound ways. These rewards are not always material, but often take the form of spiritual growth, deeper intimacy with God, and the fulfillment of seeing His plans come to fruition. The chosen find joy in knowing that their lives are aligned with God's purposes, and this joy becomes a source of strength and endurance. In their journey, the chosen often discover that the call to action extends beyond personal transformation. They are called to impact the world around them, to be vessels through which God's love and truth flow into the lives of others. This outward focus is a hallmark of the chosen's mission. Whether through acts of kindness, words of encouragement, or initiatives that bring justice and hope, their actions become a testament to God's presence and power. Community plays a significant role in supporting the chosen as they step into their calling. God often surrounds His chosen ones with a network of believers who provide encouragement, accountability, and wisdom. This community is not just a support system, but a reflection of God's design for His people to work together in unity. By walking alongside others who share their faith, the chosen are strengthened and inspired to persevere in their journey. The chosen are also called to be watchful and discerning. The enemy seeks to distract and discourage those who answer God's call, using fear, doubt, and deception as tools to derail their progress. By staying grounded in God's Word and maintaining a consistent prayer life, the chosen can recognize and resist these tactics. Their vigilance ensures that they remain focused on their mission, undeterred by the challenges that arise. As they embrace their call to action, God's chosen ones become beacons of light in a world often shrouded in darkness. Their lives reflect the hope, joy, and peace that come from walking in alignment with God's will. This light not only guides others toward God, but also serves as a reminder of His power and goodness. Through their faithfulness, the chosen demonstrate that God's promises are true and that His plans are always worth pursuing. The call to action for God's chosen is both an honor and a responsibility. It is a journey of faith, obedience, and transformation that leads to a deeper relationship with God and a greater impact on the world. Each step taken in faith brings them closer to fulfilling their divine purpose, creating a legacy that will resonate for generations to come. As they answer this call, the chosen walk hand in hand with God, confident in His guidance and provision every step of the way. God's chosen ones are called to live faithfully and build a legacy that reflects God's blessings and eternal purpose. Their journey goes beyond personal transformation to become part of a greater narrative that impacts generations. As they align with God's will, they shape the future and inspire change that reaches far beyond themselves. Central to this legacy is recognizing God's sovereignty and provision. The chosen see every blessing and success as a reflection of God's faithfulness. This fosters gratitude and humility, reminding them to steward their resources, talents, and influence wisely to glorify God and uplift others. Stewardship is not optional but integral to their identity as God's chosen. The chosen also invest deeply in relationships, mentoring and supporting others in their journeys of faith. This begins within their families and extends to communities, creating a network of encouragement that strengthens the body of Christ. Through these relationships, they multiply their impact and ensure that God's principles are passed forward. Sacrifice is another hallmark of their legacy. The chosen prioritize God's purposes over personal comfort, trusting in His greater plan. True abundance lies not in wealth or status, but in aligning with God's will. Their sacrifices, planted in faith, yield eternal rewards and righteous impact. In a world of compromise, The chosen stand as beacons of truth and integrity. Their unwavering commitment to what is right serves as a powerful witness to others, showing that living by God's principles is possible and transformative. Through their actions, they inspire others to pursue righteousness and purpose. This legacy is often built through small, consistent acts of faith and love. Simple gestures like a kind word, a prayer, or a selfless act carry extraordinary significance when done in obedience to God. These moments become the building blocks of a legacy that testifies to God's presence and power. The chosen's journey is not about perfection but faithfulness. Their legacy reflects the power of grace, as God uses their imperfections to accomplish His perfect will. This understanding frees them to trust in God's love and guidance, even in challenges and setbacks. In conclusion, God's chosen ones are called to reflect His glory, steward His blessings, and build a legacy of faith, obedience, and love. This legacy transcends time, impacting generations and advancing God's kingdom. A life surrendered to God is one of purpose, abundance, and eternal significance.